What's up guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video, a lot of viewers asked me to do this video on some symptoms on low transmission fluid. Okay, so if you got an automatic transmission and you need to know the this is the five top tips I would give you to understand your transmission. So first of all, you got a very expensive machinery here. Giving it to the wrong hand, diagnosing it wrong could be an issue. Meaning it could have been simply a low transmission fluid. And why was it low? That's something you had to determine. You can't just jump the gun and tackle something very expensive. So I'm going to be posting some pictures over here so you guys can see as we go along, as we speak along. So it gives you an idea of things that I'm talking about. So first of all, 5 top tips on symptoms on a low transmission fluid. So obviously if you got an automatic transmission, it could be a CVT transmission, it could be a old school automatic transmission. All the newer cars are getting CVT, but they pretty much do need transmission fluid to work. Okay, so first tip I would give you would be a hard shift. Meaning transmission, as the transmission rolls on the highway, let's say you're going 20, 30, 40 miles per hour, it needs to let go one gear, grab the next gear. So pretty much there's pressure. It works all off pressure. If fluid is dirty, low, and contaminated, it's not gonna work properly. So most of the time it's low transmission fluid. So there's one gear's gotta let go while the other one is gonna engage and grab. It's just clutches inside a wall body which engages at a certain speed, certain pressure. So it will let go, and pretty much it will let go of gear 1 and grab the gear 2. So it happens immediately. So if there's not enough fluid, one is gonna let go, the other one's gonna take its time to grab. So the car is gonna jerk really hard. Pretty much just gonna throw you so you're going 20 miles per hour and all of a sudden it let goes the gear, the car kind of slows down. So you go forward and backward, it hits you, it bounces you around pretty much. So that's a symptom of a low transmission. However, it could be a play in the clutch plates. It could be a worn out clutches inside. It could be a lot of other factors, but you always gotta check your transmission fluid. So let's move on to the next one. Hard shift. The car would just go from one gear to next gear. Okay, a lot of time you're able to tell this. Let's say your car is parked, you go to drive, you go to reverse, you would hear there will be nothing in between, and then all of a sudden it would grab and you will feel that. Okay, so that's delayed shift. Okay, then you would get, let's say with this low fluid, there's pressure sensors. There's pressure sensors just checking fluid pressure. So pressure sensor A, pressure sensor B. You would get check engine light, which you might, some Hondas, they have a flashing D light or any other gear that you're in. So you would get false transmission code. You can obviously go ahead and change that freaking sensor, but what good is it gonna do? Because the code's gonna come back on because there wasn't enough fluid. The pressure is not detecting anything, the sensor's not detecting anything because the fluid is low. So that's another false, you would get false transmission code. You always gotta go back to checking the transmission fluid. Okay, obviously we have slippage, so you would get slippage between the gears, and then it would be kind of delayed. It would be similar to a delayed shift. And then there's one more. I only had one in my lifetime from a mechanic, and it was a hybrid. Okay, transmission cooler was so dirty that the transmission fluid wasn't able to cool because it does cool. Transmission fluid does play a factor to pick up the heat, go through the cooler, cool off. So your transmission would overheat. So some of the cars don't have sensors, temperature sensors for the automatic transmission fluid. But if you do, that'd be one of the symptoms that transmission, because the fluid is gonna overheat, and that'd be one of the symptoms. Okay, so there's only five: a hard shift, delayed shift, false codes, slippage, and overheating. Okay, so this does not mean your transmission is fixed. So you put in a fluid, you put in pressure sensors, or you checked your cooler that it was dirty, it's clogged up, it wasn't cooling. This doesn't mean the transmission is fixed, okay? Some things I want you guys to avoid. So you always gotta look at why did it go low on fluid. So sometimes I get people that go to another mechanic shop, they did the transmission fluid flush or drain and fill, and the mechanic failed to check the fluid level because they assume 3 quarts out, 3 quarts in, okay? What if the person prior to that did the fluid change and he put in 2.5 quarts, so you took out 200 quarts and you put a little bit less, it makes a difference, okay? So that could be one of the reasons. Axle seals could be leaking. That could be one of the reasons. Okay, there's so many seals on the transmission. You're just gonna have to go underneath, look at the transmission casing, the crankcase of the transmission, check all around, look for leakages. Axle seals are very common. I do get some lines that goes from transmission to the cooler or to the radiator. They would leak out over time. Rust build up on those metal lines. I have that very common on Hondas. The main transmission seal can leak. That would come right through the center of the transmission. Very big repair. But to avoid overall, you can go to a mechanic and it could be a low transmission fluid due to a small leak. He's gonna rebuild your whole transmission. $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. You don't wanna do that, okay? You always gotta know first what's going on with your transmission. Some transmission don't have dipsticks, so you can't check them, but you could look underneath. You keep up the records. Did you go to transmission? Sometimes I do get customers, I do test some cars. I top off the transmission fluid, then go for a drive. And if it works out, then do a flush and make sure it's level. Sometimes you gotta add a little bit, add a 1/2 quart and check it out, okay? Check on the dipstick if you got a dipstick, okay? So before anything, you don't wanna jump the gun and replace the whole machinery because shit is just expensive. Anyway, hopefully this video helped you guys out. And if you guys need more information, I can provide you. I can make more videos. Just give me the titles down below. Give me comments. Let me know what you think about the video. Give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Before we end this, CVT transmissions. I hate them. They're beautiful when they're working, but when they die, they just die. I did seen one car that came in, the linkages, the little linkages, the little coin looking things, it had a play in it. That's also slippage because it's gonna engage a little late, okay? And those are some of the factors, okay? CVT transmission, a little bit different, they're tricky, but they do work beautiful, but when they die, they just die instantly. Anyway, guys, check your transmission fluid before anything, before you hit the mechanic. If you got a dipstick, you can just check the level the car out, pull out the dipstick, let it get nice and hot. There are instructions online, you can Google them, how to check your car's transmission fluid. So stay tuned for more videos, and thank you for watching this video.